Hey, what's up, guys? Coming at you from Epiphytic. Just zoom in right here, you'll have a look. It is a beautiful place and a wonderful day, so I'm going to be talking to you about layers of the forest, because I'm just doing these beat-up inspections once again, just walking around making sure everything's stocked. And I'm kind of running out of things to talk about in regards to that, but if we have a look at the terrain here, you'll see that it's quite a mountainous region, and it's very, very lovely. So yeah, let's get to it.
From what I've been reading and from everything that I was taught at school, ecologists generally tend to agree that there's between 5 and 7 layers to a forest. I like to think there's 7, and I'll explain why as we go through. The first layer is the emergent layer. This is a layer reserved for the tallest trees in the forest. Unfortunately, I don't have any examples because the forests around here are primarily even aged. They're the ones that have been all grown together. The emergent trees are reserved for the veterans of the forest. Oh shit! Motherfucker, look at that. Jesus Christ, I've literally just started and I'm already falling over. It's supposed to be a good day. So anyway, now that I'm on more like even ground, the emergent trees are the veterans of the forest. They are the tallest ones, also known as wolves. The layer, oh fucking hell, again! The layer below the emergent layer is the canopy layer, which is, you'll see from the trees behind me here, where it's all even. It's literally the canopy of the forest. So as you'll see with this little tree here, it's got two stems coming up here. These are called two leaders. What's going to happen in future is we're going to have to cut one of these off so we can focus all the growth onto one of the stems. This means it'll be better for the timber in future. Gorse, broom, rhododendron. All three of these are classed as invasive species. The gorse and the broom are native species and they're not invasive. They're pioneer species. They take over a land when there's no trees there. The rhododendron, now that's invasive. That stuff spreads wildly. You won't find much gorse and you won't find much of the broom in a forest that's got a closed canopy or if it's shaded out, but you will with the rhododendron. Rhododendron is evil, guys. Stop fucking buying it. So far we've covered the emergent layer and we've covered the canopy layer. The next layer underneath is the sub-canopy layer. Now this is a very interesting layer. The sub-canopy layer contains adolescent trees, it contains shrubs, and it contains shrubs. Now, it gets quite interesting with this kind of classification. The FAO, which is the Food and Agricultural Organization, has classified any tree to be above 5 meters or unless the species itself is defined as a tree. When it comes to shrubs and shrubs just being a tree shrub, it needs to be above 5 meters in order for it to be classed as a tree. As a hack to remember what actually classifies as sub-canopy, it's any woody species that falls underneath the canopy.
It just occurred to me as I was walking up on that hill that this fluffy hood makes me feel like a pimp. Forest Daddy! What's up, guys? It's your boy, Forest Daddy 69, here to talk to you about how to pimp your trees. That's enough of that. Now, okay, one more. Birch better have my money!
So next up is the herbaceous layer. This is essentially the layer that has the largest amount of non-woody species. So think like foxgloves or mint plants and stuff like that. And just to reiterate, because of how tangential I've been so far, it goes emergent, canopy, sub-canopy, herbaceous. So the final layer of the traditional 5 layers of the forest is of course the ground floor, which includes very low-lying grasses, moss, little creeping vines and stuff like that. Nothing too exciting. Also flowers, I guess. I guess small flowers are class too. I've just come across this, which is like a little fire pit. Usually what the contractors seem to be doing on some of the sites that I've been visiting is they'll get the bags that the saplings come in or the fertilizer comes in, and they'll just throw it on the fire and burn it. For real, guys, don't do that. That's fucking stupid. I mean, for real, fucking look at this shit, man. That's solid plastic. That's going to persist in the environment. And how do I know that they're sapling bags? Because it's the exact same material I keep fucking coming across on the sites. I mean, we came across a whole bunch of them the other day. I honestly can't believe what I'm seeing. This is so unprofessional. Just assholes, man. Right, now that I've calmed down a little bit, the sixth layer of the forest is the soil layer. Arguably, in fact not even arguably, it is definitely the most important layer of any ecosystem that's terrestrial. The soil has been described in quite a bit of the literature that I've been reading as the engine of the ecosystem. And what makes it so important is that it has its own soil food web, which has its own trophic levels, which is something that I'll get into at another time. The most important part about the soil is the organic matter, the bacteria, and the fungal associations between the plants and the bacteria and the fungus itself. Without the complex and dynamic associations that I've just briefly described, soil itself wouldn't be as we see it now with like all that dark matter in it, or if it's shit soil, no dark matter in it. What makes it so important is that it's got all these chemicals that have been released by the bacteria, or it's been bound together by the fungal hyphae as it's coming through and attaching to the soil, trying to get to the nutrients. To put it bluntly, not looking after the soil is idiotic, and I'm looking at you, global agricultural systems. Oh, I'm sorry, man. It wasn't my fault. Deer have bitten it and ripped it up. Much better. Give me some nuts, dog. Bop. And the final layer of the forest is the epiphytic layer, as seen behind me here. This is mainly just moss and lichen, probably some ferns too. I've seen some of those growing out of trees. In some areas of the forest, it becomes really, really dense. Epiphytes themselves live on other plants. So you'll have some vines that can only be able to reach the sun by climbing up trees, especially in the tropics. Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? The next clip will show you. Right, so in closing, the layers of the forest go emergent, canopy, subcanopy, herbaceous, ground level, soil level, which again was the soil food web, its own ecosystem, and then epiphytic, which sits on the outside. Right, time is it? I'm losing sunlight, I've got to get back to the office. Peace.